Hey there, it's Liz from No Trace. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 different ways to fix a worn out waistband. I'm going to show you how to fix a waistband where the elastic has worn out, and I'm also going to show you how to fix a waistband where the actual fabric has worn out. Now, the steps to fix a waistband that's broken like this will also work for worn out cuffs on your sweatshirt or the waistband on the bottom of your sweatshirt. If that's worn out, you can use these same steps. So let's go. I'm going to first show you how to replace worn out elastic like what we have in these pants. Now, don't be jealous of my super cool Hello Kitty pajama pants. I know they're totally awesome. And what we want to do first, after we get over our jealousy, is find the seam in the waistband. So you can see there's a little seam right there, and we want to get a seam ripper or little bitty scissors, and we want to open up the seam so that we can take out the old elastic. If you open up your seam and you find that the elastic is actually sewn into the waistband, like this one is, that's totally fine. You can just leave the elastic in place. Next, you're going to take elastic and you're going to wrap it around your waist so that it is snug but not too tight. Now, I love to use 100% organic cotton and rubber elastic. It's synthetic free and it's totally compostable at the very end of its life. So if you want to get some elastic like this, there is a link in the description box below this video. So just click down in there. And if you have a wider elastic than this, that's going to feel more comfortable around your waist. But this is what I have, so this is what I'm using. Next, I'm going to take 2 safety pins and I am going to pin one end of my elastic onto one side of my opening right here. So you just want to get that pin and slide it into the waistband, and then you're just pushing the pin forward with one hand and sliding the fabric down towards the back end of the pin with the other hand, and then pulling the pin forward. So you're just pushing and pulling the pin till you get it all the way out the other side. All right, I got my pin all the way out. So now I'm just going to take a minute and pull this excess elastic inside the waistband. Then I can take these safety pins off and overlap the ends of the elastic with each other so we can sew the elastic together. Now, if you really didn't want to sew anything, you could also tie your ends of elastic together. That would be a super fast way to do this, but this is going to feel a little bit better. Just overlap those ends and then we're going to join them at the sewing machine. And it's always a little bit easier to sew if you pin the ends together with a straight pin. And it's also a good idea to make sure your elastic is laying flat in the waistband before you sew the ends together. Now I'm going to sew my ends of elastic together with a stretch stitch, but you could use a straight stitch too. It should be fine either way. I'm just going to go over it a few different times. And I should have used a contrasting thread, but I think you get the idea. Once they're sewn together, you can just pull the elastic into the waistband so that it lays flat inside there. The last step is to close up this hole using a needle and thread, and I've folded a piece of thread over and then tied the 2 ends together with a very simple knot at the back here. And I always like to use organic cotton thread. It's better for the planet, better for people. So if you're looking for organic cotton thread, there's a link in the description box below this video. I'm going to use a simple hidden stitch or ladder stitch here. So I'm just going to be sewing the folded edges together, and I'm going to get my needle into that folded over edge here in the waistband, pull it through, and I will tuck the knot here and that thread inside my waistband. Get it out of the way there. And then I'm going to sew straight across where my thread came out to the other side of the waistband opening. And I'm going to just grab a pinch of that folded edge and then pull it together, and then that'll close up the opening and the thread will be hidden. just going to keep sewing across that opening with a simple ladder stitch or invisible stitch, and I'll be right back. All right, I've closed that opening on both sides of the waistband, and so what I'm going to do now is tuck the needle into the waistband and find one of my stitches and just tie a super tiny knot around that stitch. And then I'm going to push the needle and thread into the waistband and out a different spot of the waistband so that my knot is hidden. Well, more or less hidden. Then we just snip off the end of the thread and our pants are back in action. All right, let's turn to this other waistband that has a lot more going on here. So if your waistband looks like this, or the cuffs of your sweatshirt look like this, or the cuffs of your pants look like this, here's what you do. First, we're going to turn our pants right side out. Next, we're going to get some scissors and we're going to cut the waistband off the pants, and we're going to cut just below these stitches. My waistband was also attaching the top of the pocket, so I put a couple pins in the pocket so that I don't lose its spot on my pants. So the top of my pants look like this now. I have the pockets pinned in place so that I don't lose where they go. And then my waistband looks like this. The elastic and the cording are still good, so I'm actually going to go ahead and pull these out and reuse these in the new waistband that I'm going to make in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this elastic out of the waistband, and I'll be right back. All right, I am tracing the waistband onto some other fabric, and I'm going to add a little bit of length over on the sides, and I'm going to flip the waistband over and get the full height so that I can fold this new fabric in half and have a folded over waistband. So I want to cut 2 rectangles about like that. Okay, I'm going to cut out 2 rectangles from this fabric. I'm going to put the 2 rectangles right sides together. There's some paint on this old t-shirt. And I'm going to pin the sides, and then I'm going to sew the sides together with a zigzag stitch. My machine's set to a zigzag stitch. It's set to a pretty wide width, 6 millimeters wide and about 2 inches long, and I'm just going to sew straight down. Next, we're going to fold our waistband in half with the wrong sides together, folding it in half lengthwise so that we kind of are looking at the waistband, what it's going to look like when we are done. Then we want to find the center points on the front and the back of the waistband, and we're going to put a pin there because when we join the waistband to our pants, we want to know the sides, which we have seams on, and we want to know the center front and the center back. So to find the center of the front and the back of the waistband, all you have to do is bring these side seams together and then lay your waistband nice and flat. And wherever it folds on the sides, that's going to be your front and your back middle. So go ahead and put a pin right there. Now that I have my pins in place for the middle and I know where my sides are, I'm going to put my waistband around the top edge of my pants. And I want to make sure that I have my pants back right side out again. And then I'm just going to slide the waistband all the way over this top edge. And I'm going to line up the sides first and just line up the side seam of my waistband with the side seam of my pants and just pin them together. Then I'm going to line up the middle pin on my waistband with the center seam on the back and the front of my pants. Now if your pants don't have a middle seam, they probably do, but if they don't, You could use that same folding technique that we did to find the middle on the waistband. But my pants have a seam right in the middle. So I'm just putting my middle pin there, and then I'm gonna pin the waistband onto that seam and flip my pants around and do the same thing on this side. Make sure that I'm making sure that I'm not twisting my waistband as I work here. I want a few more pins in my waistband. So what I'm gonna do is actually pull on the waistband so that it is laying flat with my pants, because my pants kind of gather a little bit at the waist. So I'm just pulling so it lays more or less flat, and then I'm gonna add a pin right there. And I'm gonna do that for each sort of quadrant of the waistband. Just sort of pull from pin to pin so that my waistband and my pants are more or less flat with each other. And then I'm gonna get a pin in there so that it's more or less where it's supposed to be. So I'll be right back. Okay, my waistband is pinned in place all the way around, so now it's time to sew. Now you can definitely do this with a serger. I'm gonna do it again with a zigzag stitch, and I'm gonna start about an inch away from the back middle of my waistband, and I'm gonna be pulling on the waistband as I sew so that it lines up with my pants, because remember my pants are wider than the waistband. I'm just gonna go all the way around. I want to point out that I stopped my stitches a couple inches away from the beginning so that we have a spot to put the elastic in. And also, if you find that you're getting skipped stitches, you might need a more heavy duty needle to sew through all the layers that you're working with. The next step is to get that original elastic, and just like we did on my Hello Kitty pants, I am going to thread this elastic through my waistband, but I'm going to pin one end to one side and then get the other end all the way through. So I'll be right back. Now that my elastic is all the way through my waistband, I'm going to join these two ends together with a zigzag stitch, just like I did on my Hello Kitty pants. Zigzag stitch is done. So now I'm just going to get my elastic all the way inside my waistband and then sew up this last little spot. Ta-da! I have a new waistband, and these pajama sweatpants are back in action. I'm linking to a playlist I have of other upcycling and mending projects, so check that out. And also leave a comment and let me know, whose pants are you mending? Your pants? Someone else's pants? I want to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.